Welcome to Headline Hunting. I'm your host, Joe Farrar, and joining me from Las Vegas once again is John Morgan. John, Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson cannot get any respect despite a dominant performance on Saturday night. I mean, what does this guy have to do?
I don't know, Joe. I just don't get it. I mean, we try to break it down and talk about it, and I'll be honest, I love watching the guy fight, man. I think he is just a technical wizard at everything he does, and his fight on Saturday night was a sheer masterpiece. I didn't think John Dodson fought a bad fight, to be honest with you, but Demetrius Johnson just shut down everything he did. It's funny, I think a little bit of it is a little bit like Floyd Mayweather. Granted, the entire opposite of Floyd Mayweather in the media, but, you know, Floyd Mayweather, for all his expert-level boxing, is not necessarily the most exciting guy to watch from time to time, and I get it, man. I mean, fans would love to watch John Lineker and Francisco Rivera, 10 of those fights a night, but not every fight's going to be like that. So, I don't know, man. I really don't know if he's ever going to be able to sway the media, to be honest with you, or sway the general fans either. But I love watching the guy fight. I think he's great. And I think people really need to step back and just realize how great of a mixed martial artist this guy is. Mike Bond put together a fantastic piece on the numbers. This guy is challenging all-time records in the UFC. He's amazing.
What could be next, though, for Mighty Mouse? I mean, there's Henry Cejudo out there. He's going to take on Jussier Formiga. You saw at the post-fight press conference that there was a conversation with Dana White about something in the bantamweight division, a.k.a. TJ Dillashaw, who doesn't have an opponent. I mean, what's your take on this? What do you think could be next for Mighty Mouse?
I think, seeing him go up to bantamweight would be really cool. It'd be a one-off, two divisions that need something going on. Obviously, Dominic Cruz, having his injuries and those sort of things. TJ Dillashaw not really having top contenders because of some other injuries. Sun Xiao. I mean, it could be a fun fight to put together, but I'll be honest with you, Joe, I'm not a big fan always of guys moving up in weight class because they feel like they need a challenge. I mean, Demetrius Johnson said he wants to beat that record of Anderson Silva's of 10 consecutive UFC title defenses. He can't necessarily do that if he's moving up in weight. Now, granted, in Anderson Silva's case, it was from 185 to 205. Here, you're only talking about 10 pounds. Maybe he could easily come back down, but I'm more of a fan, honestly, of Demetrius Johnson staying at flyweight and dealing with everybody in that division. I'm kind of bummed that Cejudo and Formiga are fighting because I'd like for Demetrius Johnson to fight both those guys, and of course, one of them's going to lose, and they'll be kind of out of the picture for a little bit. But if Cejudo wins, I think Cejudo's got to be next. Is he going to have anything for Mighty Mouse? Who knows? I mean, he definitely does have the wrestling to compete. Certainly the Olympic gold medal makes it something that you can market. But I would like to see Cejudo be next. But I got to be honest, for me right now, I say don't go to bantamweight. Don't put that thing together. Let's let Demetrius Johnson stay at flyweight and try to break that record, because that would be one heck of a piece of history.
You talk about being honest and a case of humility, and sometimes we have to eat some humble pie when a guy like Anthony Rumble Johnson, victorious versus Jimmy Manuwa, crosses over Media Row and has a few choice words or a few things to say to the media. Was he right in what he said? Are we guilty? Or, listen, we're just doing our job?
I mean, listen, I think we are just kind of doing our job, but I do think Anthony Johnson had a little bit of a point, too. It's a point that, honestly, UFC President Dana White has made to me on a number of occasions, which is, listen, I don't care if you're going to write something bad. Yes, believe it or not, Dana White has told me I don't care if you're going to write something bad. Just make sure when something good happens that you write that, too. So I kind of understand the point that Anthony Johnson is coming from. Now, listen, some of the things that Anthony Johnson has done are difficult to get over, and I don't think he does himself any favors. I mean, that whole Facebook rant about the lady in the gym and the yoga mat, I mean, come on, Anthony, what are you thinking, man? Don't put that out there. Even if it's what you're thinking, even if it's what you believe inside, don't put that out there. And I think people, of course, are going to write about that, and maybe he doesn't understand why that's news, and maybe he doesn't understand why people care about it, but of course people are going to write about it. So I would advise him some caution moving forward. But at the same time, I do kind of understand his point. I mean, yes, we've got to criticize him for the things he does that are wrong, but when he does come in there and when he does handle a top-ranked contender like Jimmy Manuwa, I think you do have to write good things about it as well. And then I love watching Anthony Johnson fight. I mean, there's very few people in the sport that really have that intimidation factor. And I'm sorry, man, when Anthony Johnson steps in there, it is a scary thing. And he starts wading forward, and he's about to drop those bombs, man. You're watching something special. So I do think he has a point, but I hope on the flip side of that, he does realize it does mean if you do something good, we're not going to write about what you do bad as well, because we have a responsibility as journalists to cover it all.
Yeah, listen, John, I was watching that fight with Jimmy Manuwa, and every time Anthony would load up and plant his feet and throw those bombs from my house, and I'm watching this on television, nothing good was coming from. The guy is an absolute monster when he throws those punches. And talking about some verbal monsters, Conor McGregor stole the Go Big press conference. I mean, did he go over the line, or do we just simply say, that's Conor, what are you going to do?
I mean, I will say, even me, at a couple of points, I was like, whoa, Connor, tone it down just a little bit. We got a lot of people to talk to today. You know, you don't need to carry this whole thing, man. We got a lot of headliners up there. So part of me was like, all right, he's got a little bit too far. You know, the famous moment when Dana White told him that his zipper was down, I, too, initially thought Dana was probably telling him the same thing of, hey, slow your roll a little bit. We got a lot of guys to talk to. But I will say this. You know, this past Monday was a holiday here in the United States, Labor Day, and my family got together with a couple of friends, had a little barbecue, as you tend to do on Labor Day, and one of the guys that was there, one of the husbands, isn't really a mixed martial arts fan, but knows what I do, saw some of the clips of Conor McGregor on Facebook that came out of that press conference and said, listen, what's the deal with this guy? I got to know more about him. I'm not even a huge fan, but now I've been Googling him, and I want to read about him, and I want to know about him. And that right there tells you all you need to know, man. This guy is getting people interested and involved in the sport that don't know anything about MMA, that haven't cared about MMA previously. And to me, that's a win. So even if those of us that are hardcore that, you know, are seeing these interviews over and over and it feels like it's Conor mania, maybe getting a little bit tired of it, realize, I think you have to step back and realize that what he's doing is fantastic for the sport overall. Love him or hate him, he's bringing eyeballs to the sport.
Hence the very reason why before he fought Chad Mendes, I thought he'd be a great coach on The Ultimate Fighter. And starting on Wednesday, he is coaching opposite Uriah Faber. What are you expecting? Are you expecting some Conor McGregor gong show and crazy clips, or do you think he'll tone it down for this Ultimate Fighter? I mean, really, I don't know. Based on his interviews, I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what happens as well. You know, I haven't seen any of the series. I'm going to watch it debuting tonight, just like everybody else. So I'm just guessing here, but I'm kind of interested to follow. You know, I did have lunch with Conor McGregor this past week in Los Angeles, and we talked about the show a little bit. And he admitted when he got there, his head wasn't really in the game. You know, he had agreed to it, but he thought he was going to be against Chad Mendes. He thought he was going to have a fight at the end of it. Excuse me. So going against Uriah Faber, knowing there wasn't going to be a payoff, so to speak, at the end of it, he was kind of burnt out. And so he said his head kind of wasn't in it when he got there. And so because of that, I'm kind of interested to see how it starts out. And you've seen some interviews where he says, listen, I didn't feel the need to really coach my guys. You know, I gave him some advice, but I let my coaches handle things. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see maybe how he changes over the course of it. And knowing that him and Uriah Faber aren't going to fight, I think that changes the dynamic a little bit. But listen, I'm a big fan of both those guys, Uriah Faber and Conor McGregor. And there's some decent talent from both sides of the ocean on the show. So I'm interested to see how it all plays out. Listen, I know people say the Ultimate Fighter's tired and all these things, but these are some big personalities, and I'm going to tune in.
John, thank you very much for your time. All the best to you and yours in Vegas.
Thank you, brother. Same to you.